So hey there, thanks for checking out my videos on the YouTube. I do appreciate it. So today we are going out for a road trip. Essentially, we're going to check out this little Chevy Cruze. We're going to see how it's going to hold up. We're going from Atwood out to Owen Sound, so it's a good run for today. It'll give us any kind of little quirks or anything that comes up. It just passed safety yesterday, so the guys at the GM dealership did a fair job on that. So I'm happy about that. I had anticipated it to be a lot more money. It turned out to be awfully close to what it was before they changed over the safety standards in Ontario. So don't get worked up about that one. I did a little bit, but I had most of the work completed other than a couple things which I thought were subjective as far as what the technician had called, and I said just go ahead and do it, right? So it just made sense at the time. So the safety itself cost about $225. So with your taxes, you're at $250. He did call the parking brake cable on safety. So I felt at the time it probably could have been adjusted because I was already into the brakes. So we did the rear brakes and everything was okay. So I think that was a judgment call. So again, the issue is that if I said, let's drop the car, I'll repair it, I'll bring it back, I would have had to pay the technician the additional time to re-inspect. So it probably would have been a half-hour charge out, and it was an hour job, so that's what they got it down to, so an hour and change. So one of those things when you looked at it, you went, well, if I took it home, did the work, yes, I would save the labor, but I'm going to have to pay the labor anyways to have it re-inspected. So such is the case, kind of a borderline item from that standpoint. But he did adjust the parking brake cable when he installed it, so parking brakes work great, so no issues from that standpoint. I thought he might have called the rotors, but they measured out fine, but cosmetically they looked pretty bad. Like they were brown, just from Southern Ontario. So I figured, well, as a cosmetic item or as a technician who's going to put his name on it, maybe he would say, let's replace those. And I anticipated about $100 a rotor, then plus some labor, so I figured it was going to be $400 for those. So they didn't get called, so it was a gamble, and so that worked out well. Now, rear shoes are new, parking cables new. Typically when you're looking at when you're looking at drums in the back, because they're not exposed, usually those components last a very long time. So again, I thought the drums would cosmetically on the exterior, they're brown. So the interior, they're like brand new. So that's nice from that standpoint. Front brakes were done, and I had gone through the front end, so I knew the tie rods and ball joints and struts and everything was good. So anything that was kind of a big ticket item, I took care of.
Meters, turn right.
And plus we did the light bulbs all the way around, so they're all fresh. The reason I did that was the license plate bulbs had to get redone. And then had one marker light out, and they all kind of age out to a certain extent. So you get to a point in life where bulbs just start to go, and if you're going to replace one, you might as well just do them all, especially the little marker bulbs. They're cheap. I think a pack of 2 was $3. So I ended up ordering them off Amazon, and they just sent a bag. So I just bought a bag of light bulbs.
Right.
Mix match, which I would recommend. If you're out there and you're doing a little Turo, or even if you got a little fleet, maybe you got your his and hers car at home, and then you got the weekend vehicle, buy yourself a bag of random bulbs. I got the LED ones, so they're a little more expensive. But when you bought them in the volume, I think it was $15 for, I want to say there's almost 40 bulbs in that bag. So that's a pretty good deal. Now they're mixed, so they're not all marker bulbs, but some are brake light bulbs and so forth. But it's more than enough to be able to throw in your glove box or toss them into your little spot where you keep your tools, and then you're not chasing for a particular bulb. You're just like boom, done. Would recommend that. So the car is running great. Temperature gauge is working properly. We go right up to the midway point, which I think is where the Cruze sits, just below. No warning lights have come on. So everything seems to be working with that new intake. Again, that's a complete intake. It's not just the gaskets. And it's got a new BCV valve. It seems to have settled the engine out, so it doesn't have a harsh vibration to it anymore. The thermostat's reporting properly, which means the remote start works properly. So that's kind of nice. You know, that's a bonus. I didn't expect that in the car when I bought it. Interior steering needs a good cleaning, so we have to do that on the weekend. So once we give it a nice shampoo, it'll go up on Turo next week, and we'll see if it gets some action. I think December and January, I think, are pretty slow typically when you're looking at Turo. So I don't know. I've never been in it before, so maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see what happens. And again, this was an unexpected surprise when looking at cars on Kijiji. It just happened to be like 2 blocks away, and the price was very reasonable, so that's why I bought the car. It had nothing to do with my plans. My intent was to run that Outlander for 6 months and kind of see how Turo was going. So this is a little premature. At that 6-month point, I would have probably gone and bought another car, but I probably would have bought another little SUV. So this is going a little bit off the beaten path a little bit just because of value. Now I've also decided to put the car up for sale. So we're going to, Kijiji's free. So I'm going to post it up and we'll see if it sells. And if it does, I'll make a little bit on the sale, not much. I'll probably just break even. But it'll clear the decks and it'll give me back my money to be able to go into a compact SUV again in 3 months or 4 months and go from there. And if it doesn't sell, I'm just going to continue running it on Turo. So it's not one of those things where, you know, the gun's to your head, you need the money. It's not like that at all. It's one of those things where if I get a buyer for it and then I can rotate to an RVR, or if I move to compact SUV in that kind of area, I want to go 5 passengers instead of the 7, and I want to get something that's a little more fuel efficient than the Outlander. The RVR seems to be the one to go with, but we'll see from that standpoint. So that's me on my trip to Owen Sound and kind of the review on, well, not really a review, but just a discussion about my safety process. So I'll let you go. I think we're at 7.5 minutes. And we'll do a video on the way home. Okay, talk to you later. Have a pleasant and enjoyable day.